Our first show, Sideline Sit Down today, Friday afternoon. Our first guest of the day, Michael Martin. Michael, what's going on?
Nothing, just doing some homework.
Michael, Weslaco High alum and currently an LSU Tiger over in Baton Rouge. So thanks for joining us today. What have you been up to these last couple of weeks? I know right now you just mentioned that it's actually been a month since you've been out of school. So does it feel like a month, or does it feel like time is going faster for you, or how do you feel with all that?
No, I actually feel like time's going by way slower. I feel like I've been locked in this house for the last 3 or 4 months. Really just been playing a lot of Xbox whenever I don't have homework or test or something like that. So it's been pretty slow.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I guess I feel time's going by quicker. I don't know why for me, but the thing is, to me, every day feels the same.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you wake up and you don't know if it's Monday or Friday. You don't know what's going on. So I agree with that.
Definitely. So you said you're in San Antonio right now. You said exactly a month ago you left school. So just talk about that time and when you left school and when you kind of found out everything and did you go to Weslaco or you went straight to San Antonio?
It was actually a funny story. So we had started spring football and we had practices Tuesday, Thursday, and we were gonna have our first scrimmage on Saturday, which was gonna be in pads. So Tuesday we had a normal practice, whatever. Thursday we had a normal practice, but we had kind of heard the rumors going around, like, hey, they might cancel school. Friday we had a team meeting and you all were like, okay, let's go, spring ball, they might cancel it, school's about to get canceled. We thought school was just gonna kind of get canceled. We were still gonna have football and everything. So in that team meeting, they come in, normal team meeting, and then at the end they're like, we don't know much is going on. And they call us back and they're like, yeah, they canceled school, this, and this. And I originally thought I was gonna have to be back in Baton Rouge March 28th. So I actually left on the 17th and I drove down to Houston with my girlfriend. And then we went down to Weslaco and we were there for 3 or 4 days. And then I drove back to Houston expecting to go back to Baton Rouge. And then as I was in Houston, they're like, hey, stay wherever you're at. Like, don't be leaving your houses, wherever you're at, stay there. So, it's April 17th right now. And I was expected to be back in Baton Rouge March 28th. And obviously that's not going to happen. So, I'm back in San Antonio with my parents. Haven't left my house in probably 3 weeks, 2 weeks, other than to work out outside and stuff like that. But it's just been a really weird time for everybody.
Definitely. And in this month of quarantine, you pick up on any hobbies, any newfound talents, maybe?
I've always played Xbox a little bit, so other than playing Xbox, honestly, no, I haven't really been doing anything, just working out, playing Xbox, trying not to get tired of my parents, and that's about it.
What do you play on Xbox?
I think everybody plays a little bit of Fortnite. I've really been playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Warzone, stuff like that. Honestly, I got so bored because I have been playing that for so long. I actually got on Halo, the Master Chief Collection.
Oh,
It
wow.
took me like 20 minutes to find a game. So, at this point, I'm open to play anything because I'm getting tired of playing Call of Duty.
No Madden?
I'm never a sports guy on the Xbox. 2K, Madden, NHL, FIFA, all that stuff. Like, I can't do it. During not spring, during a fall camp, we have tournaments in Madden. During our downtime, and I can't do it. Some of these guys are just so good, like it's crazy.
Yeah, no, I got whipped. I got a PS4 and I was playing on my computer pretty bad last night. I was like, man, some of those guys online are they're ridiculous. It's crazy how
Yeah,
good
some
they
of
are.
those guys, they can make audibles like they were there in real time. They know all. Yeah, no, that's not me. I'd rather play than play on the Xbox.
You binge watching any shows? Anything on Netflix or Hulu?
Lil Dicky's new show, Dave, on Hulu. I've been watching that. Really funny show. I love South Park too. I watch a lot of South Park. Ozark. I watched a little bit of Ozark. Haven't watched the full thing, but I've watched 3 or 4 episodes. So yeah, that's about it.
I've seen Ozark. I recommend you finish that one up. It's pretty good.
I've watched season 1 and 2. I just haven't started on 3 that much. So
Okay, well, to me, 3 was the best season so far.
yeah, to be honest, 2 wasn't. I didn't like 2 that much. I liked 1 a lot. 2 was kind of like So we'll see where 3 goes.
I agree. Yeah, and I remember when I first started watching it, I've always seen Jason Bateman in comedies.
Hmm.
To see him in a crime drama like that was pretty good. Did you watch All American?
I haven't finished it. I actually got to like episode 12 or 13 or something, and then I kind of just fell off the back burner. I started watching other stuff. So I got to finish that. Because my brother watched the whole season in like 3 days, like some not the whole season, but up to date on the season on
Right.
some like illegal website or whatever. And I started watching it a little bit, here and there, and then now it's actually on Netflix. So it's going to be
Yeah.
a lot easier to watch.
No, I'm learning that a lot of people are learning what binge watching is. Are you to me? There's two kinds of binge watchers. Ones that will watch shows and 2 3 shows and then they'll call it a day, and then there's some people that will watch a season in a day. I mean, I think that's crazy. Well, what kind of binge
Yeah.
watcher are you?
I get really distracted really easily. So when I'm doing homework, whether I'm playing Xbox, like anything I do, I get really distracted easily. So I'll probably watch maybe even a show, and then I'll be like, man, I'm bored, or like, man, like I want to go do something. Like, so I'll watch a show here and there, and again, that's why I haven't watched that many of Ozark.
Hmm.
South Park episodes are super short, so like it keeps your attention span really really focused, because you watch it for a little bit, and then it's a new episode. You're like, oh hey, let me reinvest in that. So if I'm just laying in bed, or if I'm just like sitting down like in my room, how I'm doing right now, I can't just sit down and watch a show. I have to like sit down in my living room, watch it on the TV, or else I'm not going to want to watch it.
Definitely. Let's switch gears here just a little bit and talk about Baton Rouge and LSU. I've had the privilege actually to cover LSU football over the last couple of years. I didn't get to go this past year, but I've been around Baton Rouge. In fact, I was there when Les Miles was replaced by Coach O, and we covered the game when he made his coaching debut as the intern, and just from really how Coach O's turned things around, and just the environment that Baton Rouge has that a lot of people here in the Valley don't really realize. What do you love most about Baton Rouge and LSU?
It's hard to say what I love most about LSU. It kind of feels like if it's a huge community. It's a 300,000 plus metropolitan area, or what you want to call it, but it just feels a lot smaller than that. Like on campus especially, everybody's really friendly. Weather's hit or miss. It rains a lot, but when it's nice outside, it's nice outside. We have our live mascot on campus, Mike. I walk by him every day on my way to the car, on my way to my apartment. But I really think it's just the people and how like immersed they are. I mean, you've been to games. I don't know if you've tailgated at them, but yeah, you can at a tailgate, you can walk up to any single one and people will feed you, treat you like their family. And then just being on the football team, people just look at you, or people think of y'all like they're rooting for you.
Mhm.
So these people, if they know you play football, man, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, hey, we're rooting for you. Like, and people are just always thinking of you, and people are always cheering for you. So and then just in the stadium, everybody goes crazy. The stadium is wild, especially on a game day, especially at a night game.
Yes.
So I just love Baton Rouge because of how small it feels, but it's so big. There's
Mhm.
100,000 people in the stands on a game day, but it feels like every single one of them is there rooting for you, like individually, and it's really a good feeling.
I know my good friend Scott Harrison that introduced me to LSU football. He's covered LSU football for probably over 30 years now. I remember my first game when I went to Tiger Stadium was he said that you're gonna learn that once the calling card here at Death Valley is calling Baton Rouge.
Hmm.
He goes, when they play that, he goes, it's all fun and games, it's barbecues and warm up, but he goes, once calling Baton Rouge plays, people know it's game time. It's time to get
Hmm.
serious. It is
I'm
that
just getting chills just thinking about it right now. Like when you said that,
right?
like you hear that during pregame warm-ups, and the student section, the way we warm up, they're to the left of us that we're going, and there's probably 30,000 students there, and every single one of them singing the song at the top of their lungs.
And it's that one music video that they
Hmm.
play and just the intro to it. Yeah, I totally agree. And not as a player, but as someone up in the press box, or I've seen the fans that they know when that song comes on, it's time to get serious. Um, Talk about the food in Louisiana. That's another thing that I like when I go because I
I
love the
agree.
food. Obviously, the food down here in South Texas. But when I go to Louisiana, it's jambalaya, it's crab legs, it's oysters, it's all that good stuff. I'm sure you enjoy the food.
Oh, I love the food. It's actually so that Friday that they let us go to go home or whatever, we actually had a crawfish boil. So that was like our last hoorah before we went. So Coach O had a big crawfish boil for the whole team and then the supporting staff members. But yeah, the food's amazing, whether it's pastalaya, jambalaya, gumbo. My personal favorite, and I think I can speak for my whole family, we go every time they come or every time we would go to dinner, we would get char grilled oysters.
Okay.
And if you're ever in Baton Rouge, Acme, and Mansour's on Boulevard got the best char grilled oysters in Baton Rouge. The crawfish. I mean, the etouffee. There's so much food that's so good, and I'm still learning about it. And I've been there 3 years. What food there is and how people make it and the different kinds of ways they can make it, and
Hmm.
it's crazy. You learn the little things. It's like if when you're eating crawfish, if there's like the seasonings on the outside, they're like seasonings on the outside, like can't eat it. And it's just like, wait, why? They're like, because the seasoning you're supposed to put, there's just so many things, man, about the food and how long people have done it that just, it's really crazy, but it's so good. So I can't complain one bit.
Yeah, when I was with the White Wings in Harlingen, we would travel and play the Aces in Alexandria, Louisiana, and the same thing. You talk about the hospitality that Louisiana has. On our getaway days, their clubby would make a big old deal of jambalaya,
Hmm.
and he'd just be serving that thing, jambalaya and beer for the players.
Yeah.
He'd be handing that out, so that's what we would get on getaway days. So yeah, definitely, Louisiana has a lot of a hospitality. It's definitely a unique place. Talk to us about your journey to LSU and how you got there and how that whole recruiting process was like.
So I played at Weslaco my freshman, sophomore, and junior year. I grew up in Weslaco. That's my hometown. I've lived there since I was a year old. My mom moved from Corpus Christi down there, and that's where my whole family is. So, I'm fortunate that I played there for 3 years. My brothers played there. My senior year, I ended up moving to Louisiana, and I played at a school called U High, which is basically LSU's high school. It's a laboratory school, and I played there my senior year. I was fortunate enough to play on a very good team. I think we finished at like 30th in the nation or something like that. We ended up winning state that year. I played with some incredible players. We had guys go to Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, Arizona State, Navy, Arkansas, Tulane, Virginia. I mean, you name it, there's guys going there, so it's crazy. So after that state game, I had 2 touchdowns, a 60, 55-yard punt return for a touchdown or something like that. And there was actually some LSU coaches there that were watching the game, and, I had never really thought about going to play college football. I had Kingsville. I talked to Kingsville a little bit. I had talked to some other D1s whenever I got here to Louisiana and started playing. But, going to play was never really never really in my mind. I didn't want to go to a school just to play football. I didn't want to go somewhere that I didn't want to be just to continue playing football. I wanted to go to school to get my education. I wanted to focus on that, and I wanted to get a good degree so I could go on in life and do more. So after that game, my friend's dad, his name's Michael Bonnet. He's the sports information director at LSU.
I know Michael.
Yeah, cool
Yeah,
guy. Love that
Michael
guy.
Benet. Yeah, I know Michael. Yeah, keep
Uh,
going.
so he's talking to me and he's like, man, you need to walk on at LSU, man. You need to. And I was just like, whatever. He's like, look, I'm going to put you in contact with the coach and like y'all are we're going to talk. So actually after the game, coach was there, I talked to him a little bit, they wanted me to go walk on. So I was like, okay. I never really thought much of it because, playing at Power 5 SEC football, I never really thought hey, let me do that. But, the guys that want to go play at these other places, they're like, dude, you should go walk on. If you're already going to LSU, you should go do it. Go. And, I was, again, I don't want to say that I didn't believe in myself, but, from Weslaco, there's not many, they're from the Valley in general. There's not many people that go play Power 5 football. So, I kind of almost didn't believe in myself. So I ended up talking to the coaches, like, yeah, come walk on. So, I ended up walking on that fall semester of 18, or I believe it was. And then the rest is history, man. I mean, walk on, might not get all the glory that some of these other guys get, but, it's definitely a fun experience. I've been there for 2 years, going on 3. I honestly wouldn't trade any of it for the world because, the friends that I made, the bonds that I've made, and the connections that I made with some of these people, not even just players, but coaches, really mean a lot to me.
Gunnar Henderson, he's currently at Texas A&M, and he had the similar story about being a walk-on He talked about how the tryout at the walk-on was military styled, and it was something he hadn't seen before. Just how tough was that the walk-on tryout, or what were some things that stood out to you that was different?
I didn't really have a walk-on tryout because, like I said, after my senior year, I had already talked to the coaches a little bit, and they wanted me to go walk on. I went to a camp. They wanted to just see like what position they wanted me to play, because originally I was gonna go play as DB, and then as I got there, the receiver coach was like, "Nah, like I want you, like you're a receiver." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." I never played receiver in my life. I was always a free safety, strong safety, running back in high school. But as you can tell, our running backs are pretty good, so. They moved into the receiver room, and yeah, so my tryout, I guess you can say, was really running a 40, getting measurables, and then maybe doing like a one-on-one or two. But that was really it. I mean, I never really had a tryout per se, because that tryout was just them evaluating me, seeing what position they wanted me to play.
How did this semester pan out for you? As a college athlete, like everyone else is trying to get adjusted in their own way to working from home. Have they sent you guys workouts, or do they check in on you guys? Do you have Zoom meetings, or how have those workouts gone for you guys?
Yeah, so we have Zoom meetings Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from around 4 to 5:30, and then on Thursday 4 to 5, because of the regulations that they have set in place. You're only allowed to have 4 hours of meetings, and they actually just extended that, I believe. But yeah, they sent us a workout packet whenever we first got out. That had 5 different workouts on it. Like if you had a full gym, this was this workout. If you had a gym with just this amount of weight, you would do this workout. If you only have dumbbells, you would do this workout. If you only have one dumbbell, you do this workout. Or if you don't have anything, like if you're just doing body weight, they sent us workout. So there's 5 different workouts they sent us, and it was like probably a 15-page long workout thing. It breaks it down week by week. It has our conditioning on there. And actually, I believe just last week or 2 weeks ago, they sent us an updated version of that thing. So they changed some things, so we weren't working on the same thing for the whole month that we were out, whole month or two, however long it is, just so we could change up on what we were doing, the conditioning that we were doing and stuff like that. So the meetings, it's the same meetings we would be having if we were in person. They send us our packets, our tips and reminders. They send us our installs. They send us all the clips that we have to watch. They upload it on our iPad so we can watch it and stuff like that. So not much has really changed. You still follow your same workout routine. You still follow the same meeting routine. The only thing is just you're doing it from home. And then academically, you have online tutoring sessions. You have online classes. You have online Zoom things, just how we're doing. So not much has really changed. All my classes, or I had one class online to start with, and then I had 4 other in person, and all those I already took my test on a computer. I never took any in class. So, other than that, it's really just moving the testing environment from the testing center to home, and then moving the learning environment to home, which I had already done because I do a lot of my studying at home anyway. So, for some people it's a big change, but for me, I've been already kind of used to it, because that's just how I prefer to study to start with.
Definitely. You got to hang around and work with a guy named Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I know that guy.
Yeah, a Heisman winner, no big deal. Just talk about being able to work with him and being around him. I mean, obviously this year he took the country by storm, and right now a lot of people have him projected as the #1 pick in the NFL draft. So just talk about working with Joe Burrow.
It's funny because people always ask me that about, hey, Joe Burrow, like what and all this other stuff. Like, hey, how is Joe? And Joe, I met him, one of my first times there. I was honestly scared of him. I was intimidated by him. This is QB1, and this was his first year at LSU, when I was like, oh, this is QB1. Like he's a really quiet guy. He won't really speak unless spoken to, or won't really speak. And when he speaks, it's important. You want to listen, especially in a group setting. But he's a really quiet guy to himself. Like in the cafeteria, he'll sit down and eat by himself, no problem. Like he has a funny attire. He wears a Looney Tunes jacket all the time. Like, so he's really just to himself. But he's a great guy. I ended up, I don't want to say getting close with him, but I ended up becoming better friends with him. Actually, this year, I would just catch the ball for him warming up, and it'd be small talk. Hey Joe, what kind of music do you listen to? He's like, I don't really care. If you have any recommendations, you can send them my way. I'm always trying to listen to new stuff. Or, hey Joe, how was your weekend? He's like, I didn't really do anything. Lost a couple games on Madden, or hey, this and that. Or, it's always just, he's just Joe to me. It's just Joe. Whether we're out doing stuff socially, it's just Joe. People are swarming him and all this other stuff. And he's just like, man, whatever. And then he's just there talking to us while people are there dying to talk to him. So, but it's great though. The way he knows the game, the way he dissects the game, the way he just looks at the game really changed my perspective on it, because he's so automatic, especially this year. It's like, oh, they're in cover 3. Okay, I know where we're going to beat the coverage. Or hey, they have the nickel blitzing, or just small things. The safety's over the nickel. That nickel's probably going to come. Let me slide the protection that way. So, the way he looks at things is really mathematical. Hey, we have 3 guys over here. They have 2. Someone's going to be open. So, he really just looks at the game from a number standpoint. And I think Joe Brady, I don't know if you know who that is, our passing game coordinator, new Panthers offensive coordinator. They really click. They went. Whatever Joe called Joe. 2 Joes actually. I just thought of that.
Yeah.
they just clicked like no other. So but Joe Burrow himself, really a great guy, really a nice guy. But when it comes to football, he's like a different beast. The way he handles the game, the way he studies the game, everything that he does has made me change my perspective on the game. It's made me analyze my routes more, and it's made me a better, not player only, but a better person, just because I feel like the way he handles himself, especially with all the fame that he's gotten this year, is really admirable.
And obviously playing for Coach O, Ed Ogeron, he's one of the best out there. And, he's built a winning tradition, and you guys winning the national championship. Just talk about Coach O just a little bit, and maybe what stands out to you playing for Coach O.
Coach O's he's a really energy-driven guy. You're never going to catch him lacking at practice. If he's not bringing the energy, then I don't know who will, because that guy always has energies. So a funny story about him actually is I remember Bama last year when we played him at home. I believe we were down maybe by 14 or something like that. Everybody's heads were kind of in the dump. He comes in, gets on a chair and tries to rip his shirt off while he's yelling. He's like, "Let's go!" Like, oh, and he's just yelling, going on, trying to hype us up. So he's a really motivational guy. He comes in every day during our team meetings and go, "Hey, how we doing?" Clapping, very excited. And he's also really personal. He feels like the team, we should be the closest things. And he always puts up this LSU logo, and it looks like the LSU logo is kind of intertwined together. And he always goes like, that's us, like how this is intertwined, that's how we go together. But he's a really likable guy, man. You can hear him walking around the thing saying, "Go Tigers, go." Like you can just hear, like you can just tell his passion and love for LSU. You can catch him running the levee down right by campus, all the time. People say, "Hey, Coach O," you're like, "Hey," whatever. You see him, he gives you a little fist bump, So he's just a really likable guy. Even though we're not the star players, he says he treats all of us like we're his sons, and honestly, he does. He told us that day whenever we left the meeting, he was like, "If you need anything," and he sends us text to our group chats, and he's like, "Hey, anything y'all need, like, here's my number, shoot me a text, like call me before you call anybody else. Like, I have y'all's back." So, it's a really good experience.
Definitely. And then obviously, the national championship this year, that's great to be a part of and be around. And, just talk about that, and what was it like in Baton Rouge when you guys won it all?
Well, what it was like in New Orleans after we won it all was crazy. So we won that game. And, as you can tell, there was a lot of guys at the game. Ezekiel Elliott was there. OBJ was there. What's his name? Randall was there. Like, there was so many famous guys that were there. Darius Geis was there. Darrell Williams was there. Like, there was just a lot of prominent NFL players, LSU alum that were there. But after the game, we won. We had the little ceremony where the confetti's flying down, all this other stuff. We have the signs, the national chants, all this other stuff. I actually have one hung up in my house in Baton Rouge, those signs. But, we get in the locker room, they're handing out cigars, all this other stuff. Smoke them if you got them, KJ Malone he has his own cigar brand. Karl Malone's son there. They were giving them out. OBJ was in there, man. Music was playing. It was crazy, like we're all taking pictures, saying like goodbye. The guys are going to go to the NFL. You already know Justin Jefferson. You're like, man, it was fun, bro. Like, well, all this other stuff. Joey B, you're just like, yo, like Joe, like appreciate you, all this other stuff. Like, And it was crazy because, everyone's trying to get pictures, Odell, Ezekiel Elliott, everybody's going. And I was honestly tired, during the game, I'm yelling my lungs out, hyping my boys up, just being the little hype man that I am. So after the game, I was honestly exhausted. I didn't even play, but I was exhausted. So everyone's in the locker rooms, it's filled with smoke and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, man, I'm hungry. I want to get out of here. I'm getting a headache. I already had a headache from yelling. It's like this smoke isn't helping it. So, I actually got my stuff, packed it all up, took a few pictures with some guys, dapped a few guys up, and went and sat in the bus. The game probably ended around, I want to say 10:30, if I remember correctly.
Mhm.
I got on the bus around 11:30. I don't think we got back to the hotel around until 12:30. So, it was just really hectic. And then, after the game, we went out to Bourbon Street, all this other stuff. And I don't think I ended up getting back till like 6:00 in the morning or something like that. And we had to be back leaving at 8:30. So we were leaving on the buses at 8:30. So all the guys come in kind of still wearing the same stuff they wore out last night, just kind of like, tired, whatever, all this other stuff. But it was hectic. We get back to Baton Rouge, all the fans are there. All the fans are there, cheering us on by the bus. Ooh. We get in, we have a team meeting. Coach O kind of tells us what's going to be going on for the next week. I think we had a parade the next day. So, we go, we had lunch, we leave, come back the next day, we have our national championship parade. And it was crazy. I have never seen that many people on campus ever. Like a game day walking down the hill, like I've never seen that many people. There was probably 200 to 300,000 people there just by the PMAC in the stadium. Like it was crazy. So we're on floats, we're throwing beads, we're throwing cups, we're throwing anything that they gave us really. And then we go into the PMAC for the national championship ceremony, and it's filled with the bands there, everybody's there, parents are there, and it's just crazy. Like I'm getting goosebumps talking about it right now. And people go up there and speak, but just the atmosphere in itself and all of the guys just kind of looking at each other was kind of just like, yo, like we did it. Like we knew we could do that, going into the season. Some people might have not thought, they might have just wrote us off, ranked 10, whatever. We don't even look at rankings during the season, but just kind of being there, especially as the other walk-ons, we kind of like just look at ourselves, and with all the other guys, I was like, yo, like that happened. Like we did that. Like we just won the national championship. Like that's crazy. So, it was honestly, I can't even explain it. I can't even explain the feelings that we had. But just looking back at it, man, it was an experience of a lifetime. I'm always going to hold that dear and true to my heart. But yeah, I mean, that's really it. It was indescribable. It was crazy.
Definitely. You, Richard, Ozak, another Westaco product, Gunnar Henderson, we saw this crop of kids. You're at LSU, Gunnar and Tyler Boltheis are at A&M. Richard's going to be at Texas Tech. You guys are kind of resetting the standard for Valley athletes, showing them that, hey, stuff like this is possible. It's not impossible. Do you have any specific message for the RGV athletes that are watching and, just taking maybe some advice?
Man, the hardest thing, or not the hardest thing, the one thing that I really learned throughout high school, and especially the one thing that was really instilled at me at Westaco, thankfully I had great coaches, and Coach Tony, Coach Ramirez, the strength coaches, Coach Ganthu, all those guys over there at Westaco High School, Coach Stroman. I was just glad that they instilled in me discipline. And to this day, that's the one thing that I hold true to me. I'm disciplined. If I say that I'm going to be somewhere at 1 o'clock, I'll be there at 12:45. Workouts are at 7 a.m. I'll be there at 6:30. And, I'm going to be the first one there. I'm going to work the hardest. I may not be the last one out, but I can promise you that I worked the hardest while I was there. And that's the one thing at LSU that I really hold dear to me. I'm always at workouts early, warm-ups. I'm always lifting to my max. We have a Freaky Friday World Weightlifting Championship, and that's for the guys that don't really that don't play. So we lift weights while the team's going through walkthroughs and all that. So there's probably about 30, 40 guys that do it. And they break them into weight classes, and I've won my weight class thankfully 2 years in a row and got the best pound for pound lifter. So just work hard, be disciplined, run on Lombardi time. That's what I call it, or that's what was instilled in me. And just believe in yourself, man. I mean, if you don't think you can do it, I promise you can. And it's all a mind game. You know, you just got to get past your mind, and I promise you, your body will do it. I like to follow what Clyde says. It's throw your body across the line and your heart will follow. So, you know, that really hits close to home because, you know, some people may not believe in you. Some people might not think you can do it, but I promise you, just go out there, try and do it, and you're going to be able to accomplish a lot more than you think you can.
Definitely. You have a couple of fans watching, Coach Fino and Coach Arredondo. They said that they miss you. They love you. They're tuning in.
Appreciate you, Miss Fino. Miss y'all.
And any shout outs you want to give to some family or friends that may be tuning in?
I mean, I don't know who's watching. I always shout out to my mom and dad. Love them to death. My two brothers that have been my biggest fans since I was in elementary school. And man, those two guys have believed in me since the start. And I mean, just shout out to all the Weslaco coaches that made me who I am today. Shout out. I mean, if any of the Louisiana people are watching, shout out you high. But you know, I appreciate everybody watching. You know, doesn't matter where they're from. You know, tuning in to listen to my story. I appreciate that greatly.
Definitely. So that just about wraps it up. Our first guest here on our Sideline Sit Down, current LSU Tiger national champion, Michael Martin. Michael, thanks for joining us, man. You stay safe. Keep up the great work. You know, the Valley is definitely proud of you and everything you've done up there at old Baton Rouge. So Michael is our first guest. We're going to have some bonus coverage here coming up next at 2 o'clock. We're going to have Harlingen High UTSA alum Brandon Garza, along with World Series champ Teres Varela, Sherryland High alum. He's going to be joining us here at 2. And then at 3, we're going to have both Santa Rosa's A.B. Lozoya and Leo Lara join us. And then later today at 5, Brownsville Veterans alum and current Seattle Mariner Fred Villarreal Jr. Join us later today, this afternoon. So, Michael, thanks for making some time out of your schedule to join us. And again, stay healthy, stay home, and stay safe. We'll see you.
No problem. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Y'all have a good one.